Okay, as you can see from the titles, weapons to bring to Crota's end raid. Now for the first bit here, you can do anything you want. Alright, it's pretty easy. You have infinite resist. Just, build the bridge and go down, and that's when we go ahead and get into the details. Now for the first encounter, the Abyss, these are the options that you want to run. For the heavy slot, I recommend Eager Edge. Now, when I say I recommend Eager Edge, it can be your best friend or it could be your worst enemy. It really depends you and your skill level. I believe Eager Edge Sword for the first encounter is a skill and awareness of how to use it, because you can basically track to an enemy or into a hole or a pendulum and then guardian down. So I would recommend, if you're very good at it, use it. If not, I would recommend using any normal sword with no Eager Edge perk, or you can use Eager Edge, just don't proc it. So that's pretty much situational to your playstyle. Now, if you don't want to run a sword, the second best option will be a machine gun. Whether it's a machine gun that it's a legendary or like Thunderlord. So it's really your choice. Okay. So these are the best slots and in the first encounter as heavy. Now for the secondary slot, I recommend running Sunshot for Unstoppable. And yes, there is Unstoppable. And Osley the ad clear. This does great for the first encounter. You can run Trinity Gold for also fast ad clear, again, which is amazing for ad clear. So you got Sunshot, Trinity Gold. You can also run Forbearance if you have it. Again, we're just focusing on lots of ad clear. You can run SMG, normal SMG for ad clear, and then hand cannon, autos, pulses. There's not really wrong here, but the most optimal, like I said, Trinity Gold or Sunshot. And that's in the secondary slot. This is what you should be running. And as for the primary slot, as you can see, there's many options. You can run Witherhoard. You can run Osteo. Again, this is just focusing on ad clear. You can run Conditional Finality if you have it, and you can run Blinding Nade, like Ignition Code, for example. Blinding Nade if you want to run that. You can also run Forerunner, sorry. Again, as you can see, many options. Okay, usually what I run personally, I do a Fusion, Reptide, Sunshot, and then Eager Edge Sword. This is good for the first encounter. Again, you can run Machine Gun, Sunshot, normal ad clear weapon, Fusion. You can do Blinding Nade. These are the best. But just remember that there is Unstoppable that you need to deal with, and that is for the first encounter. For the second encounter, again, you can resume with a sword, whether you can do normal sword or you can do Lament, because they're in that encounter you deal with anti-barrier, and Lament heals you, does good damage, and also deals with the barriers. So Lament is a great option. Normal sword or Lament, you can run Gallahorn for ad clear, knights, dealing with champions and all that. Great. You can also run Grenade Launcher or Machine Gun. Also normal rocket will do. So rocket, Machine Gun, Grenade Launcher, Lament, Thunderlord you can if you want to, Gallahorn, normal sword. That's for the heavy slot. As for the secondary slot, you can run, let's say you're running Eager Edge Sword, you can run Sunshot for ad clear. Now, I don't recommend running Sunshot, but you can if you want to. I mean, yes, you can proc the seasonal mods to get Radiant, and then deal with the champions through that, but I don't recommend it. You can if you want to. I recommend running hand cannon, like a normal hand cannon, or SMG if you like, or sidearm, because there is barriers. And if you don't want to run this type of sidearm, you can run this sidearm here. This hits great. This is a special sidearm from the new dungeon, so you can do that. Now you have a source of damage, you have barriers, and then here you can run Osteo. Okay, you can also run, if you want to, you can run hand cannon for ad clear, SMG, really your choice. When it comes to this encounter, as long as you have a form of anti-bear like Arbalest, Forerunner, Wish Ender, so these are all the bears. That's what you should have in these slots here. You can do that, or you can also run like Blinding Nade, Sidearm, like a normal sidearm, or the dungeon one, your choice. And that's it for the second encounter. Now for the third encounter, which is the first boss. Now here it gets a little bit, I guess, more diversity, you can say. So let's focus on tool number one, which is support number one, which is gonna be needed. Divinity. Divinity is a must-have, I would say. Now when I say must-have, it depends on the method of the damage, but honestly, I would say 95% of my raids, Divinity is needed just because it helps a lot. You can run Divinity and also at the same time run Tractor Cannon. This to create precision, this to give you 30% debuff. Yes, they can work together. So that's support number one, support number two. Usually the person who runs Tractor Cannon should be someone like Banner of War Titan. You know, activate Tractor, use your Banner of War, 1-2 punch, whatever. Usually to that. But that doesn't mean others cannot do it. They definitely can. Now this is going optimal. And if you don't want to do that, that's completely fine. But again, Divinity is a must-have. Now, if Divinity is active, there's many options. The most common options that you would see is linears. Most people will tell you linears, so you can run any linear. Surrounded ones specifically, they do a great job. You got div, you can use linears. Now, if you don't want that, you can run Tractor Cannon and no div, just Tractor Cannon. I don't recommend it, but it still can work. Tractor Cannon, support 1, you do support 2, which is Gallahorn, and then the rest they use legendary rockets. With a fusion, you can do weapons like Izanagi's, and then you can do like one accurate weapon like SMG, hand cannon, sidearm, auto, it doesn't matter. You can do this, for example. I guess we could do this. Okay, so this is another option. But really, when it comes to the first boss, you're just really going to end up running either rockets or linears. Now, we do have other weapons. Most people also use Thunderlord because people may not have god rolls of this and that, so they run Thunderlord with Divinity right here. So it's also a great option, especially for someone who doesn't have a lot of tools. Grenade launcher are in a great place, so you can run that. Like for example, you can do fusion, grenade launcher, and then one add clear weapon, let's say like Osteo, which is great. Now, people also run Wish Ender, usually the players who scout. If you don't know how to scout correctly, the scout can run Wish Ender to go through these rooms and tell you where these witches are. So Wish Ender is very good weapon for that, the first boss. Again, you can run Wish Ender for scouting. You could do Wither Horde, SMG, grenade launcher, rockets, you know, as you like. You can also do linear, but only one person should run Wither Horde because it doesn't stack. And you can also do this. So there's other methods, like you could do hand cannon and fusion. I feel like fusions and shotguns are a must-have. Fusion or shotgun are a must-have. Just because you have the witches, you run out of ammo, it's a great source of damage. Like fusion, shotguns, you got your div, and that is it for the. I guess we can add up Izanagi's burden, like I said. I don't know if I said it, but you can definitely. Yeah, I think I did. So you can do Izanagi's burden with like an SMG as well, with div especially. It does a great job. Now for Crota, the main tool is actually the Oversoul player and Tractor Cannon. Tractor Cannon is a 30% debuff. It's a must-have for Crota's End. Now, if nobody wants to run that, you don't have it, it's fine. It complicates things. It's very difficult to hit 2 swords on him without a tractor. You can, but you will have to be extremely precise. So Tractor Cannon is a must-have in my. I'm not even gonna say in my opinion. It's a must-have. So Tractor Cannon, that is the main tool. As for the rest, you have the Lament, and Lament is one of the best. like S tier, if you know how you can do the combo and you do it correctly. And if you don't have Lament, run any legendary sword. Some people do Surrounded. Again, you need a specific setup and place for it, so where you're surrounded by enemies to proc it. So really, there's not much going on. If you're not a tractor guy, you're either gonna run Lament or any legendary sword. These are the best options. That doesn't mean the other options you cannot go for them. You can. I just don't. I just don't see them working really well than swords or legendary swords or lament. But you can run grenade launchers if you want to. You can also run like 1 gallon rockets. Not the most optimal, but hey, it's a method. You can also run whisper, but then again, you need div. And I guess one thing I didn't also forgot about it. For the first boss, you can also run divinity. Like I said, it's a must-have, and you can run whisper. The other players, it can actually do a great damage potential one phase. And again, if you're just optimized with that. But again, Crota, let's focus on Crota. Swords, Lament are the best tools. Most people should have a legendary sword, and if not, they have Lament. Run a fusion, especially for the Oversoul player. Like this would be your build as an Oversoul. You'll run double fusion, one for damage, tractor, damage, and then one for the Oversoul, which is great. This is how it should be as an Oversoul person. You don't need a primary gun. And if you're in panic, fine, you can use like a hand cannon, SMG, whatever. Or you can keep the fusion. You could do like SMG, hand cannon, sidearm, auto, pulse, your choice. In the secondary slot, like I said, or the primary as a DPS guy, let's say, this would be great. You can run double fusion, or you can have like one add clear weapon here. Okay, you can do that. You can also run normal legendary sword. You could do conditional finality and then one add clear weapon. And then you can also do with a horde, only one person in the field. You can definitely do that. Again, with a horde, conditional, fusion. These are usually the slots for DPS player. And then here, one add clear weapon, hand cannon, sidearm, SMGs. Alright, and that is it. Anything, let me know in the comments, and if I forgot anything, you can always remind me, and yeah, thank you, and I'll see you around.